marketing is not only about customer acquisition. Marketing should actually be playing a role across the entire customer lifecycle. This year, more than ever, we should be partnering with customer success teams, support teams, account management teams, and product to think about how do we actually improve customer retention and what are those areas for expansion and upsell.
I have Sara with me today. QuotaPath marketing inbound is 80% of their entire pipeline, and some of the motions that are collaborating to that 80% are going to be quite intriguing to talk about. One is the PLG motion and free trials. Secondary is the organic search and work that they do with communities, with their personas. And third is probably a little bit more unexpected, is the parallels in politics and in writing and marketing and how it all blends together.
I actually started my career as a lobbyist in Washington, D.C., and lobbying and marketing have some really interesting overlaps. So I really kind of credit my start of my journey as a lobbyist as the start of marketing. I learned how to research an issue and how to break down the details of an issue and make it really consumable for a wide number of constituents. I learned how to make a persuasive and compelling call to action, both for our constituent base to get them to contact Congress, as well as for members of Congress to vote on an issue the way that we wanted them to. So having those strong appeals is really core, learning how to ask and knowing your customer and your issues, right? Those are so fundamental to product marketing, to demand generation, and then even that idea of staying consistent and on message to brand. And so it's, in a way, nothing that I set out to do, but everything that my early career trained me to do.
It's interesting because I find politicians to be one of the best marketers.
Oh, absolutely.
There are so many intersections between politics and marketing, and the more I listen to politicians, the more I understand how efficient they are at transmitting their messages. What would you say that there would be some top lessons from politicians to marketers?
From politicians and marketers, I think that idea of consistency and staying on brand, staying on point with your message and constantly repeating it, no matter, I think as marketers, sometimes we kind of get tired of our message and we think we have to switch it up. But some of the best politicians, I think, are the most consistent ones and who have a very strong point of view as well. So know your issues and have a strong point of view. And I think marketers can continue to learn that from politicians.
That's interesting. Talking about consistency and message, who is QuotaPath for? Why do they buy and what do they get out of it?
Sure. So QuotaPath is a sales compensation platform that is for your entire revenue team, from your RevOps leader to your finance leader to your head of sales and all of your sales executives, no matter what tier of sales executives they are. What we do is we really help make comp plans more consumable. We take you out of spreadsheets and into a platform where everybody can collaborate on building a compensation plan that meets the needs of your business and your team, that allows you to see how your team or you as an individual are performing against that plan, what your earnings and attainment are, and to even forecast how you're going to do. And at the end of the day, not only do we bring that alignment and that motivation to teams, but we actually reduce the amount of time that you spend on the headaches that would otherwise come with managing commissions payouts through a spreadsheet.
What are some of the most innovative comp plans have you seen recently?
The most innovative comp plans? I'm so happy you asked this. We are actually about to post some recommendations on how to rethink your comp plan in the current kind of macro environment. And I've heard from some great community members in Pavilion and other communities how they're thinking about how you use your comp plan to actually motivate multi-year deals, pay differently on multi-year deals, comp plans that also reward winning more of your ideal customer profile, even comp plans that help improve your gross margin by rewarding your team for having really high onboarding NPS scores. So those are some of the innovative comp plans I've seen recently where they're using bonuses and spiffs and even paying out different commission rates to think about that long-term view of the customer.
What do you think it's a hot topic these days that marketers talk about that you don't agree with?
One hot topic is definitely at times multi-touch attribution. And it's something where I've seen a lot of organizations spend a lot of time building out models, going back and forth on how they're measuring all the touch points. And it's not that I don't agree with it, but I think it's about finding the balance for your organization of understanding what the first touch is, what the last touch is, and then just being able to act on it and understanding all the points in your, life cycle where it's a conversion point and you need to move the needle. I think multi-attribution, again, you can spend so much time on the models that you kind of forget to do the work of focusing in on those different conversion points and constantly trying to improve them.
What are some of the metrics that you focus your team on right now?
Yeah, so I think about three things when I think about core metrics. I think about kind of creation, conversion, and cost. In terms of creation, number one thing that I want my team to know is what is marketing's contribution to the overall closed-won business. That is our number one care about. After that, then we can kind of back up and say, how are we doing in terms of creating pipeline? The next thing I want to know is actually those conversion points that I mentioned before. What is our rate of conversion from different channels? What's our rate of conversion from website visitor to engaged visitor to actual, winning somebody for a trial or a sales demo? And what I'm really doubled down on now, as QuotaPath is in the midst of being a much more product-led company, is really what are those conversion points in the trial experience? Where are our customers actually meeting product milestones? And how can we help move more customers down that pathway? The last one in terms of cost, we are absolutely looking at our cost of acquisition by channel. We're looking at the cost of acquisition compared to overall lifetime value. So CAC to LTV is something that I look at a lot because it helps me understand how much room there is, right? How much room is there to experiment? How much room there is to double down in a certain channel? And I like to look at that much more from that lens.
What percentage of pipeline comes from marketing?
So we have a really high velocity business that is very marketing driven. So 75 to 80% of our pipeline is marketing generated.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And where is it coming from? Which channels?
Yeah. So we do a lot with organic, really driven by content and SEO. That's the top channel. We have also invested and continuously are optimizing paid search, which has been very good for us. And then the review sites have actually been quite good for us as well. We participate in G2, in Trust Radius. We've done some work with Capterra as well. And having an active presence on the review sites has been a strong channel for us. The other piece that we do a lot of, and it's a longer kind of and less direct, I would say, payback is our involvement in communities. And it's something that my head of demand generation really spearheaded over the course of the past year and a half, is getting very involved not only with sales communities like Pavilion, but getting really involved in communities like RevOps Co-op, RevGenius, to make sure that we were we talk to multiple audiences and making sure that we work with all those audiences. So we participate in webinars, we participate in the communities in their Slack channels. We're always willing to share our expertise. And that's something that I've actually heard back from other community members that really differentiates QuotaPath. We're willing to hop on the phone with you and talk with you about your comp plan and just give you some tips and advice.
What tips do you have for a CMO that's taking over an existing team? What do you do to get buy-in from them, from the peers?
It is always a work in progress. I have to reference Michelle Peluso, who was the CMO at IBM when I left IBM, and she was a fantastic mentor. And she gave me this advice when I was leaving to go back to startups and take over a team. She told me to get to know my team and get to love my team that I was taking over. She told me to find the truth whisperers and to take on a task that nobody else had wanted to take on yet.
What was a task that nobody wanted to take on that you took at QuotaPath?
I took a QuotaPath. I don't know. It's not that nobody wanted to take it on, but one big change that we've made in my first 60 days here at QuotaPath is that we actually expanded our free trial. We had originally gone to market at QuotaPath with a free version of our product that was really geared towards sales reps and allowed a rep to enter their deals on their own and then see their earnings and attainment. But it didn't allow that view for a leader or a manager or RevOps or finance, that kind of admin view of the product. And so when we launched Compensation Hub in October 2022, we actually opened up a little bit more of our product geared towards that RevOps leader or that CRO, so they could actually see more of how the product worked. And we were getting really great response from that. And so when I stepped in, I said, let's open up this free trial to everybody, not just people who are looking at building a comp plan. And so we actually made that free trial live February 15th. It meant we had to write a whole new onboarding nurture stream. We had a lot of work to do with it. And the team is also playing around with some new ads as well to drive people to the trial. But I'm really excited. So it's not that nobody wanted to do it, but I think maybe there's a little hesitation of, is it the right direction to go in? And so far, it's showing to have really great engagement. We've been really excited with people who are getting started. They're able to set up their comp plans. We're seeing people invite team members into their free trials, all those steps that we want them to take to see how much simpler it is to build compensation in QuotaPath.
Yeah, people are afraid of comp plans for sure.
Yeah.
But I really love the know and love and then find the truth whisperers and take over a task and one takes it. This is really good advice.
Yeah, it's great advice.
What do you think that are the top skills of a marketer or a great marketer?
I think there's some inherent things of curiosity, asking questions, digging deeper, whether it's the audience or the product. You have to kind of always ask why. The second great piece of a marketer is customer focus. And really truly understanding not only who it is, but like at the core, what are they trying to do and who are they trying to be and be known for? One of the things that I've learned over the course of my career is, in a way, everyone's striving for something a lot of times. So when I was at IBM, it was the IT leader who no longer wanted to be the no guy. As I moved into other roles, it was the finance leader who no longer wanted to be known as just the spreadsheets and numbers guy, wanted to be known as a more strategic leader. As marketers, right? We don't want to even be known as chief marketing officers anymore. We want to be known as chief market officers, because we want it to be clear that we are bringing strategy and insights and customer voice to the table. We're not just doing the things. We're not just making the t-shirts and the banners, we're bringing the insight and the strategy. So I think getting to know your customer, being curious and getting to know your customer are great, great things that every marketer should do. The last thing, and maybe this one's a little more controversial, I think it's actually super important for marketers in almost any role to be good writers. Because no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing product marketing or demand generation or brand, you have to be able to communicate your ideas to your peers. You have to be able to communicate and motivate, internally and externally. And writing comes in all different forms and fashions. But having a willingness and desire and comfort in it, I think is really important as a marketer.
What is a top of mind thing for you for 2023?
you probably have heard about it a fair amount this year, but it's something that's really core to my heart too in SaaS products, that marketing is not only about customer acquisition. Marketing should actually be playing a role across the entire customer lifecycle. So this year more than ever, we should be partnering with customer success teams, support teams, account management teams, and product to think about how do we actually improve customer retention, and what are those areas for expansion and upsell, and how do we do it in a systematic way. I think a lot of times those teams think, well, that's our job, we've got it. And I'm like, well, marketing can help. We can help with one-to-many communications. We can help with creating automated communications. We can help with figuring out ways to celebrate moments of customer delight, and bringing that experience forward. So I think just thinking about marketing, and it's kind of my call to everyone, think about your marketers as your partners in that customer life cycle. And if you haven't called up your marketer today to ask how they could help with retention and expansion, you better start doing that, because we're here to do that. And for me and for any of my marketing peers, we don't want to just bring customers in if they're not going to stay. Like, I'm not here for that kind of quick turnover. I'm not a promoter, I'm a marketer. So I really care about making sure that we bring in long-lasting customers and build great relationships with them. And on that piece, that conversion piece, why are people not getting, why are they getting stuck at some point in the funnel? Or if they're not connecting their data, what's the hurdle? What's the hesitation behind it? Let's dig into it together. And we might find some really interesting learnings.